Real Ones is a film podcast where we discuss a collection of works from every era. Each season, our cast of 4 drafts 8 movies, selecting from indie, art house, mainstream, and beyond. Featuring your hosts, Charles.
There's a 9th movie that no one knew was going to be added to the roster. It's Fast 5, Fast and Furious 5.
Goodbye.
we ain't doing that.
Lee.
I was an easy target because I was disliking this cultural milestone and everybody just dogpiled.
Ron.
Sorry to interject, but you know which one of his movies didn't have a happy ending?
Which one?
Lincoln.
And Be Will.
And I know what I'm saying doesn't make sense. If I'm going to let you go into the illogical, the step there needs to be logical.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome to The Real Ones, a film podcast where we will draft and discuss movies from all languages and genres, indie, art house, mainstream, and beyond. This is the first episode of the podcast, so pardon our dust as we figure this whole structure out. But I am one of the 4 hosts, Charles Jr., a.k.a. Chuck, and with me I have Lee.
What up?
Ron.
Glad to be here. What's up?
And the homie B. Will.
What is going on, man? Finally, I get to get cultured.
We'll see.
Fellas.
That means somebody got to pick Baby Boy as one of the movies.
Hold up, now I seen that. Come on now, don't do that. I didn't seen that. Come on now.
See, now I'm mad at myself.
Future season. But just to introduce everybody to what The Real Ones is, each season is going to be 10 episodes. That may change, but for now it's 10 episodes. On the first episode, we will draft 2 movies each, kind of in the way of an NFL fantasy football snake draft. And those 8 films will serve as the next 8 episodes. And then we will have a 10th episode where we will wrap things up to discuss the entire season. But each episode on the film, the person that selected the film will talk about why, their relationship to that film, when they were introduced to it. And we'll just have a very free-flowing conversation about that movie. We're trying to not be too rigid in the structure, just so people can speak to the things that like stood out to them. And, you know, kind of speak honestly without having to be forced in any particular direction. But this first episode is an introduction to us as well as the show. And we'll start off with each person talking about their individual relationship to film and how that may have changed as they've gotten older. And I'm going to start off with Ron.
So yeah, I guess I like to say my film school is just simply my mom and I going down the list of like Oscar nominated films and then just going to the movie gallery and just checking those out and just watching them. And we started to develop a language. Like, okay, like what are the themes here? Like, let's talk about the cinematography. Like, let's talk about like the threads underneath. Like, what is this film truly trying to say? So that's how it truly started. Like my mom and I, like we bonded over films, and it's gotten to the place now where I guess my film watching, I watch films in 2 ways. So I have my things that I just watch simply for like pure enjoyment. But then I have my things where I'm like, okay, I want to feel something. Like, like I say all the time, like I watch movies like Moonlight and I'm like thoroughly enjoying it, even though it's sad as hell. So yeah, so that's how my relationship with the film has evolved over time. But yeah, it just started off by simply just going to movie gallery and grabbing some obscure like French film.
Okay, dope. How about you, B. Will?
I mean, I'm the most casual movie watcher by far. My dad would just put stuff on. He was a single dad at the time, and we didn't have money to buy a bunch of movies, but he wanted me to watch movies to kind of keep me occupied and quiet while he was at home doing stuff around the house. And so what he would do is he had a VCR, and he would hook it up to another VCR, and he would rent the movie and dub it onto a blank VHS. And we had this wonderful collection of bootleg movies on VHS. I remember he got me like E.T. and Curly Sue and any of the Disney movies. And that was it. Just whatever was like PG at the time. But I never had a love for film. My love was more so for music. I mean, and Chuck, I know you know that, and y'all know I do music, but I got more into it, at least more aware of it as more of a medium instead of just entertainment. Later in life, when I started appreciation for more things, started appreciating music more. I started appreciating writing more. I started appreciating a documentary more. And then it opened me up to movies that can make me wonder and think, which is why sci-fi is probably my most loved genre. Sci-fi, and weirdly enough, like Victorian or medieval Europe stuff. And I have no idea why. So I love vampire and occult shit because it's kind of both at the same time.
Right.
But those two things have always been my love. I couldn't even tell you where it came from, but it's mostly for entertainment. I know I'm probably the only person that's going to ride hard for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I will be that.
Not true.
That is fine. I will be that. But yeah, that's mostly a casual movie watcher, but also a niche love for certain things that I really couldn't tell you what the source of it is. But yeah, that's me.
Okay, dope. I'm a springboard off that bootleg thing. My parents may or may not have had a massive collection of bootleg VHS that was built off the backs of Blockbuster and Movie Gallery for sure. To the point that my dad may or may not have had this wonderful like wooden box cataloging all of them because they didn't have the names on them. It was just numbers. And you had to look through the catalog, the index cards to figure out what the movies were. And just to give you an example of one of the ones I watched a lot, I don't even know why or what order he had them in, but I was watching The Fox and the Hound a lot. Mm-hmm. And one day I finished The Fox and the Hound. I would watch it when I'm going to sleep, and by the time it's done, I pass out. But this time I stayed up and I stayed through the whole thing, and the static came up. But then Demolition Man started.
That is not the same movie at all.
It is not even close. And I fell in love with that movie. I definitely should not have been watching Demolition Man at that time. But I stopped watching Fox and the Hound, so I just kept watching Demolition Man every night. But that's just an example of like my early relationship. A lot of trips to, movie stores and stuff. And me and my dad specifically always had an interest in martial arts films, which would go into Japanese films and expand from there, essentially. And one of my uncles was a lot like that. He would find the most obscure E-list martial arts movies he could find and send them our way. And then just fast forward, I actually started writing about movies by mistake. It was just an opportunity that was there. And it kind of changed how I had to start talking about them. Because I didn't have the language to really dig into how I felt about them. It was just fire or trash. Simple as that. And fast forward even further to COVID times, quarantine. My journey into film kind of expanded significantly because I had I had time and opportunity to really dig into it and get out of my comfort zone in a purposeful way. And that's what brings me here to this podcast. Lee?
Sweet. So I actually also, similar to Ron, got my love for movies from my mom. She is an intense cinephile, but she watches everything the same way, right? So she'll watch like the Three Colors trilogy with the same adoration that she'll watch an Avengers movie without she doesn't feel the need to explain it, and that's fine. Like, I love my mom, but like she put me on a lot of stuff early on. I just don't watch stuff that way. But like also with her being as intense in cinephilia as I am now, back then when I was a kid, I didn't have like any of the kids movies. Like I never saw E.T., never saw Gremlins. I was watching like Godfather and The Exorcist when I was in single digits, right? And then like Blade and stuff like that. So I just kind of grew up in a house full of just movies. And I'm also an artist. So, my love for cinema kind of mixed with my love of like visual art and like aestheticizing things, drawing pictures in class. So I always tell the story, but when I was in third grade, I think I actually wrote out line for line the whole Blade movie, like every line, just from memory, because I watched it over and over again. And I illustrated each like action scene, just like on pages. So I just kind of always wanted to be a filmmaker, always had a love of cinema and got it from my mom. Fast forward to like 2015, I actually got on a film set. The movie was terrible, by the way, but like I got on a film set, learned how making movies happens, and I'm like, oh, like, okay, this is gonna change the way I watch movies forever. Like knowing that nothing is by mistake, everything is controlled. And you just see it differently. Like, oh, you put that light there and it makes the scene look like this. If you put the lights there, it makes it look like this. So it grew. And then, as you mentioned, with quarantine, it changed everything again, right? Like quarantine made me kind of fish out things that were on my list that I'd always put off. Like, why don't I watch David Lynch films? Let me go check that out. How come I haven't seen the Kotze trilogy? Let me go check that out. So I just started watching a lot of avant-garde expressionist films like Tarkovsky and stuff like that. So that's where I'm at now. But hopefully that was coherent and cohesive because I covered a lot of ground. Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of us probably got to some movies way later than others probably did. If y'all have examples, throw them out there. I'll tell you mine. I watched Do the Right Thing for the first time in 2020, last year. And It wasn't like I was avoiding it or anything. There's just a lot of movies like that they just went by and I never went back to them. I never had a reason to, or no one was really pointing me in that direction. But when I started looking into specific directors and wanted to watch their entire libraries and then the Criterion releases and stuff like that, it just felt like a natural starting point for me as I expanded my horizons. Any other movies y'all feel are like you're egregiously late to?
Bro, listen, I told y'all, parts of Spike's catalog I missed. Like I watched Crooklyn, but I never saw Do the Right Thing. I saw School Days, but it was another early Spike movie I didn't see.
Malcolm X?
Oh man, come on, I saw that, We saw that in high school when teachers just don't want to teach, you know what I'm saying? But I didn't see like the modern classics like Moonlight. I was telling my wife all the time, like, you know what, I think I do want to watch that, Anything now, I don't know if y'all got to this point, but trauma porn, as it's dubbed, I do think there is something. Negative emotions are still emotions, and any movie that can pull you to that place where you feel those emotions, it has done something that served a purpose. But in the modern day and age, man, I'm talking like the last 2-3 years, I just don't want to sit down with the little spare time that I have and feel angry at such outrageous displays of racism and bigotry and violence. It takes something out of you. And the movie is probably really good because it actually made me feel those things, but that's not what I want to feel with my spare time. So I thought Moonlight was sad, so I never watched it. 12 Years a Slave, same thing. And I'm not saying that that's like one of the modern classics. I'm just saying that was one of the examples of
it is.
See, here y'all go. See, now I feel bad all over again. I watched The Butler, and it probably wasn't even no classic. I just like Forrest Whitaker. I respect Forrest Whitaker, so I watched The Butler. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, I miss out on a whole bunch of stuff, man. I just don't. If I've got time, I'm gonna watch that thing that makes me feel wonder, amazement, happiness, joy, and that's maybe something that can make me laugh. But I don't really watch comedies too often. I'd rather just, kick it with my boys and chap it up in the group chat. That's really comedy, honestly, to be frank with you. But yeah, that's where I have a huge blind spot on modern classics that I need to fix.
Okay, word. Hey, we don't know what the roster's going to be like, so.
If we're talking blind spots, bro, like there are so many Spielberg films that I just haven't seen. Just because I don't know how controversial this is. I don't like Spielberg. Like, I think he puts a nice little bow at the end of everything. He wraps up every story nicely. It's like, I don't like it. Like, for instance, Schindler's List, right? Like, that was kind of the last straw for me because I watched that shit. I'm like, but it's the Holocaust. Like, why does this have a happy ending? Like, he saved a couple people, but like millions still died. Like, what is this ending, right? Like, and that was like the last straw for me. So I haven't seen like E.T., Indiana Jones movies. Like, Spielberg is a huge blind spot for me.
Sorry to interject, but which one of his movies didn't have a happy ending?
Which one?
Lincoln.
I mean, I
Thanks,
didn't. Oh God.
I forgot he did that movie, by the way, but I feel you. I feel like for Spielberg, he's very much kind of like entry level filmography core. Like he's movies 101.
Yeah.
And that's what I feel like with him. I've always felt that way. And yeah, I don't gravitate. I don't hate his stuff. I just don't gravitate towards it.
Yeah, he's too skilled of a craftsman to hate. Like, I don't hate him.
Yeah.
He is phenomenal at making movies. Like if you just pay attention to the cuts in his films, like he has like a lot of sneaky wonders and like he's really, really good. It's just at a thematic level, I just don't enjoy that shit.
Word. Ron, what you got?
So yeah, Spike Lee growing up was like my favorite director. So I didn't know there was a world outside of this. So I was like actually very late to like most of Scorsese films. I was very late to like a lot of the classics. So yeah, like so that's what I'm doing now. I'm actually going back and revisiting a lot of things I missed. Like I'm watching like just last year I went through like Hitchcock's collection. So I'm just going back to catch a lot of the things that, you know, these are like renowned classics, but I just never had access to them when I was a kid.
I rock with that. I started watching Hitchcock for the very, very first time this year as well. I watched Rear Window recently, and that was a banger. And it also, I love, I don't want to go too far off on the tangent, but I love watching like older, highly regarded films like this because I see evidence of them, or I recognize evidence of them in so much that I've watched in television shows and other movies, even in video games and stuff like that. Like that's crazy. Like Kurosawa, I just started watching his work and I see evidence of his stuff everywhere. Like there's the easy stuff like Magnificent Seven and stuff like that, but there's a lot of seeds planted all over the place. But so the next topic here is what brought us all together. And honestly, is basically jokes on social media, ultimately.
Well, we got to give some credit to AJ here, who is absent.
This is true.
Lee Hates Everything is what sparked my interest in following Lee, who I follow through mutual. Really, Charles is my connection to y'all too, for real, because I follow Charles, knew him, my little brother knew him. And but when AJ kept talking about how Lee hates everything, I had to follow Lee just to figure out who he was and why he hated so much. and that was what got me interested and saw how much he likes and hates movies is very interesting. I'm worried about catching the hate, but then again, hate is healthy, man. I'm a hater, and in my natural form. So I'm intrigued by the hate. Because I know I'm going to be, again, I am looking very forward to this whole experience because I'm going to be more enlightened about a medium that I am not enlightened about. But I'm also going to be a much better hater. And I appreciate that in advance.
Yep.
Thank you in advance.
True that.
Just a little bit on the Lee Hates Everything. People just need to know where that came from. Like,
Yes.
the peak of Lee Hates Everything was Black Panther, bro. Like when Black Panther came out and I didn't love it, AJ took that shit and ran with it while acknowledging that my critiques were valid. He's like, "Oh yeah, I see what you're saying. By the way, Lee hates everything," and everybody I was an easy target because I was disliking this cultural milestone, and everybody just dogpiled. Like I reviewed Black Panther, the tweet went viral. I deleted that shit. I'm like, I don't want this engagement. And it just kind of kicked off from there. So that, AJ is a menace, man.
Okay, wait. Black Panther is not one of my movies. Please tell me it's not one of y'all movies.
No, not at all.
Okay.
No.
Can you tell me, can you give me like the 30-second why you hated Black Panther so much?
That's just it. I didn't hate it. I just had critiques. I was like, the CGI at the end was bad.
Oh no, that was bad. That was bad.
The fact that they had to end it in the same way that most of these Marvel movies end is bad. There's evidence of the previs shit, which if anybody picks, is anybody going to pick a Marvel movie? Because I can save this spiel for later.
Oh no.
I did not pick one.
I am not going to waste my time with that.
So Marvel has this thing in their production cycle where they do previs. They have action scenes already started before the script starts. And like it affects all of their films the same way. And Black Panther fell victim to that because here's this elevated drama that I already have some issues with. Like Michael B. Jordan is just not good as a villain. Like all that growling and barking is not intimidating at all. Like you look like you're performing on a stage. Like that shit is, it's just not scary. But so like I had problems with it, but once it got to those like rhinos fighting, it's like, bro, what is happening? Like who designed this shit? And it was Previs. And that's all I said. I kept it really brief. And AJ just got me ratioed and dogpiled. And I had to remove the tweet from the internet. Like, nope.
That's the real villain.
Fact, he is a terrorist.
AJ's the real villain.
AJ's gonna have to make an appearance in some way, special episode or something like that. But the League Hates Everything movement, I got involved in that as well, and elevated it into probably dangerous spaces. Yeah, I can admit that. but also, much like B. Will, I started to. The thing with Lee is like it would always come with a reason, a very well articulated reason, which it helped me to be able to speak different ways on film that I couldn't before, and also encouraged me to seek out movies that I normally wouldn't, just to kind of see what I can gather from them, what I can gain, what value is there. But I think I was following you well before that, though.
Yeah, we've been following each other since like 2013. Like, it's been years.
A long time ago. Yeah. And B. Will I've known at this point almost most of my life, or like, it's somewhere in there. You was the big brother the specter big brother that was weaving through the house at one point.
Yeah.
He was just around. But and then Ron.
Yes.
Actually, I don't know how you and AJ know each other.
So me and AJ met each other through Twitter back when he was like a cartoon avi, and then we actually we just like bumped into each other at the what's the event at the Birmingham Museum? But anyway, we just bumped into each other. Yeah, we've been cool since because a lot of our like nerd disciplines overlap. So we just had a lot of common. And actually, before there was a Lee Hates Everything, like I was that guy because this was back when like Drake was like popping off, and I'd be like, yeah, man, like I really don't like Nothing Was the Same. Like it's good, but I don't like it. And I don't like it for these reasons. So he used to serve me up like that too. But I'm actually glad you came along, Lee. So to take the heat off me.
Saved him. I started to realize me and Ron had very similar like tastes in film. But one of the earliest interactions on movies I remember was you telling me that Great Beauty was good. That you loved that movie. And then I watched that movie.
I love
like,
it.
Fam. I was hot. It had some cool moments, but my expectations were through the roof. It was just my mistake. But
wait, what movie is that? What movie?
The Great Beauty.
The Great Beauty.
It's definitely one you would not have sought out.
Okay.
And it totally could get selected. I almost
selected it, but I'm not gonna do that to you, B.
So Ron admits to trying to sabotage me early. Thank you, Ron.
Yes, indeed.
Of course you would.
Moving on, y'all, it's time to get to the real meat of this very first episode, the draft. I put our names into a randomizer to create the order, and from that, we got Lee going first in the first round, then Ron, then B. Will, then me. It's a snake draft, so it reverses after that. It'll be me, then B. Will, then Ron, and Lee closes it out. I will admit, this is ideally what I would have chosen as the order if I just selected it, so it just worked out that way. It was either going to be Lee or B. Will closing it out, just in my head. But Lee, let's go. Start us off.
Raw by
God
Julie DeCarnell.
Come on, man.
2016 coming of age masterpiece. Raw. Y'all knew I was gonna pick it. Like you knew I was gonna pick it.
I really should have assumed that you were gonna choose that, especially with the recent conversations we were talking about. Me and Ron not being able to experience body horror. We're not quite ready for that. And I guess now we got to get ready.
Sir.
I don't
All
even
right.
know
Almost
why I should be
worse.
worried, but y'all are worried, so I'm real worried.
It was almost worse. I almost picked Cronenberg's film Crash, where people are like sexually gravitated towards like car accidents. I almost picked that shit, but I was like, nah, Raw is good enough.
Goodness.
All right. Well, we know what kind of mindset Lee is in for these drafts, so second one's gonna be crazy. But all right, Raw is his first selection. Ron, what you got first round?
So first of all, let me say I've been avoiding Raw like the plague. Lee and I talk about this all the time. I'm like, nah, I don't do body horror at all, but I mean, I gotta step up to the challenge. So going back to how Spike Lee is like my favorite director, like even his bad shit, I love it. Whatever. Like I could still like find merit in it. So last year after The Five Bloods came out, I was like, okay, let me go through his catalog to see what I've missed. I stumbled upon, and this isn't the movie, by the way. Let me preface it with that. I stumbled upon The Sweet Blood of Jesus, but then I read what it was about. I was like, oh, so the backstory is actually really, really cool. So to preface that, my movie is 1973's Gunja and Hess by Bill Gunn.
Nice.
I have that. Okay, sweet. Sweet Blood of Jesus is fucking terrible, by the way. It's awful.
Yo, no, I figured it was. so Gunja and Hess is B, looking at you. It's going to be a tough hang, but some of the ideas introduced in this movie, especially by a black director, were just so ahead of their time. And some of the imagery, like it's beautiful. The religious themes, beautiful. So yeah, even though you're probably gonna be like, "What the hell is this?" I think like once you sit back and reflect on it, you're going to be like, "Okay, this was like light years ahead of its time." So yeah, Gunja and Hess.
What the fuck have I got myself into? This nigga's pulling movies from 1973, man. Come on, man.
All right, B. Will. Time for you to clean us up a little bit here.
Yes, please. I will give you guys a massively popular, commercially and critically successful movie so we can lighten the palate a little bit. Really, it's one of my all-time favorites because of the, again, sci-fi amazement. And I know it had holes in the plot, but Interstellar is my favorite Christopher Nolan movie. For reasons, as I discussed that movie out in the open, I realized that people don't love it as much as I do for different reasons. Nobody hates it that I've come across, but they compare it to Arrival and like Arrival better, which I disagree with fundamentally for very direct reasons. But Interstellar, I rewatched it about 3 years after I first watched it. And it gave me that feeling all over again. And that to me is the telltale of a true favorite for me. Like that's one of my favorite movies. And I want to hear, I know everybody here has seen it, but I want to hear.
No, I haven't actually.
You have not?
Wow.
No.
Wow.
What?
Ron, you are in for a treat, my boy. You are in for a treat. Do you have a 4K television, Ron?
I do, yes.
Okay, we got to get you that on 4K for sure. I will make sure I do that. I don't want you to just rent it. I will get you a 4K disc of this movie. Do you have a 4K disc player?
Yes, I do.
All right, we in there. Of course you do. Of course you do, movie buffs. All right, who am I talking to? All right. Okay, I appreciate that. Yeah.
Fantastic selection. I'm actually baffled that Ron has not seen that.
Me too.
That's absolutely
And I have no reason why. I just never seen it. Yeah. I do not want to see Matthew McConaughey go into outer space, I guess.
You wildin'.
He doesn't hold the movie back, man. He plays his role. He plays the role.
He's the that's exciting. We gonna get into that. It's funny. So I have The Great Beauty as my beef movie for Ronnie. My beef movie with Brian is Arrival because I can't understand. Like he. I think it's people just get to him, but he gets into a pocket of insulting that movie that pisses me off so much.
Because you know it's got holes in it, man. I mean, every movie most sci-fi has some holes because if it was completely realistic, it wouldn't be science fiction. All right. We get that. I guess the thing for me is if I'm going to give you one step that gets me from reality to energy, a force, a world that doesn't exist, that step has to be a logical step. And I know what I'm saying doesn't make sense. If I'm going to let you go into the illogical, the step there needs to be logical. I understand that doesn't make sense, but that's what I need. And you can't pull what she pulled and what they pulled in that movie, man. You can't do that to me. It was a parlor trick.
The thing that makes it so much more frustrating to me is because I feel like Interstellar does a very similar thing.
We will get into
Interstellar goes way
we will
that.
get into it. Mm-hmm. We will. Dope. All right. Okay. So my selection is the 2008 movie In Bruges by Martin McDonagh, written and directed.
Okay.
He did 3 Billboards Outside of Ebbing, Missouri, and 7 Psychopaths. I haven't seen that second one, but it's a crime comedy drama. No, okay. Crime comedy drama. I feel like I selected that movie. Like, that was the one when we decided to do this show. I automatically picked that one because, for one, recency bias a little bit. I watched that one fairly late. I only watched it in the last couple of years, but I felt like it was a good balance of being somewhat popular and palatable, for lack of a better word, but also something that many of us on the show possibly did not see. B. Will, have you seen it?
Oh, come on, man. Of course I haven't.
No? Okay. All right. I will
was
save
that after
all
or before Ant-Man? That would be my question. Come on, man. You know I hadn't seen that.
I will save the other reasoning for the selection once we get to watching the movie, but I'm excited to share that one. So now I've got to make a second selection, which I did not make before we started recording this. I have not made up until this point. And I'm looking at the list, and I think I'm going to go with The Terrorizers, 1986 film by Edward Yang, written by him along with Xiao Ye. Yang did A Brighter Summer Day and Yi Yi. It's a crime, drama, metaphysical mystery. B. Will, yes, you are going to hate me for selecting this movie. I'm sorry, but I hope that you find something dope to take away from it. But yep, that's my second pick. The Terrorizers.
Great.
Now it is on you, B. Will.
Oh, man. All right. So I have watched the first half of this movie. I have not finished it because it is too heavy. It's too much because I don't like this type of stuff. I know y'all have watched it because y'all talk about it. Hereditary.
Let's go.
I got about 40 minutes in and a certain event happened. All right. And I was like, no way y'all let this happen. And I turned it off. I was doing my thing where I break it up like, okay, it's a scary movie. I'm going to watch it dead smack in the middle of a Saturday in 20 to 30 minute chunks. And I was like, I'm going to be brave. And I'm going to go past 30 minutes. And they rewarded my bravery with something tragic. And I was like, hell no. Y'all got me fucked up.
That's what it.
And that was like 2 years ago. That's how long it's been sitting, just waiting on. I understand that there is much more marvelous movie left, but I have not. Unless somebody makes me do it, I probably won't do it. So I want to finish Hereditary and hear all of the things that y'all see and understand that make it so marvelous. So Hereditary.
Yes. I have not had a space to talk about that movie, and I am excited to talk about that movie.
I'm so excited. For all the wrong reasons. I'm so excited.
Same. I actually have the A24 script book, and I want to talk about that. Like, the script is way worse than the movie. Like, he cut out some shit that would have been like, wait a minute, what? So I'm excited.
All right, I'm here for that. Ron, round 2.
All right, so going back to my mom and I watching movies, we checked out this movie in 2001. Y Tu Mama Tambien. That's not the movie, by the way. I just like to preface things. But around 2006, I was flipping through the channels on DirecTV. I was like, hey mom, that guy that directed this movie made this movie. Children of Men. So prior to that moment, I didn't know you could do things like this with the camera. There is one specific scene I'm talking about. I did not know you could do that prior to this moment. It may have been done before then. It may have been done better after that point. But that film just totally like expanded just what I realized that film could do. So it's like in my personal top 10. Like Children of Men is such a fantastic film. So yeah, I'm very excited to talk about that one.
I've seen that one. All right.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I think that's probably the only one that we have all seen. Well, no, we've all seen. Well, no, you didn't see Interstellar. So Children of Men, I think we've all seen that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be dope. All right, Lee, bring it on home.
So I'm struggling because I have 3 movies in mind, right? I see that everything we picked is 1970 and beyond. So I wanted to pick something like in the 1950s, maybe. And I was going to go with the earrings. See, I see that face. Everybody just assumes that like old movies are boring and hard to get through. I was going to pick The Earrings of Madame De, which is a fantastic French film. Everybody should see it, but I'm not going to pick it. So now it's between Beyond the Hills by Christian Mungiu, which is an amazing film, and Mishima, A Life in 4 Chapters.
I knew it. I knew that was going to be an option. I knew it.
Just because have you seen it, Ron? Have you seen Mishima?
No, I actually haven't seen it, but I've seen you talk about it. Yeah.
Okay, I think I'm going to go with that. Mishima, Life in 4 Chapters. Because it's weird enough to bring you into the fold if you don't like avant-garde stuff, but it is amazing. It's entertaining, too.
Be Will, anything you want to get off your chest real quick?
No, this is why I'm here. I came here to expand, broaden my horizons. So, you know what? I appreciate it.
Yeah. There's another movie. There's a 9th movie that no one knew was going to be added to the roster. It's Fast 5, Fast and Furious
no.
5.
Goodbye.
We ain't doing that.
You know what?
Grand opening, grand
I have
closing.
not seen any Fast past the 3rd one. No, I watched
word?
6. It was where was the one where Statham was the villain for the very first time? Was that 6?
6, yeah.
Yeah, I watched that like at Christmas with the fam or something like that. But I watched up to 3, not 4, 5, 6, and then nothing since. So
Okay,
I wouldn't mind doing that.
I'm gonna get you right in a future season. I got you.
All right,
I got you.
Just watch Titan. Titan is enough. That's a great Fast.
No,
and Furious.
no, it isn't. It's not.
Watch it.
No, it ain't.
Just watch it. Don't watch my review. Just go watch Titan. It's in theaters right now.
I'm not gonna do that.
I can't believe I have to watch Raw, but I'm excited. Looking at the movies that we have selected for this is some really awesome stuff. What I'm gonna go ahead and do right now is randomize the order that we're going to watch these movies.
Oh, okay.
I hope Raw's first. I really do.
Bro, I really hope not.
Let's get it out the way. Let's get it out the way.
It's probably gonna be
Raw is
last.
nowhere near as bad as y'all think it is. It's really not. But the scenes that are bad
Okay.
are like, ooh.
Okay. All right. I'm hitting the randomize now. And the results are Raw's last. Thank goodness. All right. Number 1, Ganja and Hess. Number 2, In Bruges. Number 3, Children of Men. Number 4, Hereditary. Number 5, The Terrorizers. Number 6, Mishima, Life in 4 Chapters. Number 7, Interstellar. And number 8, Raw.
And then on a high note,
I-
for sure.
Yeah, we shall see. I think it's balanced out well. That's good. That is the roster for this first season. You can find us at realonesepod.com. I am rolling the dice on saying that because I have not even set that up yet. But hopefully, by the time you, listener, are listening to this, it will be set up. The main thing is that it will lead you to our social channels and link to the letterbox for the Real One Season 1 list of movies. It'll be in the order that we're going to watch so you can keep track. Hit us with comments about the movies. Hit us with Lee Hates Everything on social media. Hashtag Lee Hates Everything. You know, I'm very excited to discuss this movie with y'all, but I do want to hear what other people think about the movies chosen, if they've watched them, and even if they haven't, if they have any thoughts. But very excited to get this first season off.
Look forward to it.
Likewise.
All right, so see y'all on the next episode. The first movie is Ron's selection, Ganja and Hess. See you then.
Peace.
Peace.